What is up, cinephiles, and welcome back to Screen Kings. For today's movie review, let's talk about one of the scariest, if not the scariest film that I've seen this year. This one really got me good. It's a psychological horror film called Smile, directed by Parker Finn. This one tells the story of a psychologist named Dr. Rose Cotter, played by Sosie Bacon, who starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain after witnessing a traumatic incident involving one of her patients. So as this overwhelming terror starts to take over her life, she must learn how to confront her past in order to survive this ordeal. So I would categorize this film under the subgenre of chain cursed. And if you've seen films like The Ring, It Follows, there are a lot of familiar elements here, and it pretty much leans to a couple of horror movie tropes, like there is a paranoid woman who no one else believes. At the middle of act of the film, it goes into an investigative arc to learn the true nature of this evil surrounding the film. Is it a supernatural entity? Is it a curse? Even though there are some derivative elements in this film, it still managed to really terrify you. It's creepy from start to finish. Maybe it has to do with the way they set up the atmosphere of this film, the way they shot it with low lighting, and the griminess fell into it. There is a genuine sense of dread. Like Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell, so there is a thick tension throughout this film, and I think this movie is starting to make noise. I mean, it is #1 in the US, I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if it performs really well internationally, because it recognizes the three key ingredients when it comes to making a mainstream good horror. First is the premise. It doesn't need to be completely original, it just needs to have a hook, and that has something to do with a smile. That simple, harmless act filled with warmth. This movie destroyed that smile for me, and you know, whenever someone smiles in this film, it immediately triggers something in me. Like, I attribute it to a horrifying act, and it's just so penetrating. It pierces through your soul. So I think the movie is effective in that regard. And the second one is a strong, solid performance. And then the third would have to be a good set of jump scares. Parker film here, in his directorial debut, I would say it's already an impressive one. He knows how to make things fun and engaging. The jump scares here are not too telegraphed, and with the help of that jarring sound design, it really got me, you know, except for that one that I've already seen in the trailer. But when I first watched the trailer and I got into that car window jump scare, I almost threw my phone. And in here, I have a couple of times as well where I was kicking my seat. There are also a lot of fake outs in this movie, so I would say the direction is very much assured, and there's a clear vision here. Horror fans will definitely keep an eye on Parker Finn here. Then let's talk about the other star, the true star of the show. It has to be Sosie Bacon in such a committed performance. You can see her character devolve throughout the film. Her gauntlet eyes, her pained expression, her increasingly emotionally wrought psyche. I mean, the last time that I felt so moved by a lead actress in a horror film is Elizabeth Moss in The Invisible Man. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sosie Bacon's performance gets completely snubbed come award season, because that's what they do when it comes to horror films, just like what they did to Toni Collette in Hereditary. But anyway, whether she gets an award or not, this movie alone is worthy seeing because of her performance. I truly think that this movie would have been a dud if she's not strong as the movie needed her to be. And another thing that I like about this movie is it also works as an exploration of trauma and mental illness. I mean, it's not that as deep, but it's better than your average horror film. It has some metaphors when it comes to cyclical trauma that gets passed from one generation to another, the depression. So there are some scenes here where Dr. Rose gets her feelings invalidated. So I felt like that also works in our current society, where people just keeps asking you to suck it up, put up a smile. That toxic and aggressive positivity that some people might force on you, I think that is the commentary of the film. It gets nihilistic at times, especially if you're one who's keeping a positive mindset, because in some ways this movie is also telling that no matter how hard you try to face your fear, sometimes you're just doomed. So that might not sit well with the audiences, but then again, you might just think of this just on the surface level, a supernatural horror. And yeah, overall, I would say the pacing here, it's very deliberate and slow. It's like a predator stalking its prey, and when it gets to the third act, it's brutal, it's violent. Obviously, I can't say anything much, but there is a particular shot towards the end of the film that gives me the chills. It's just so symbolical, and I think that shot alone is worthy of admission. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna give this movie a 3.5 out of 5. I felt like the movie could have shaved off 10 to 15 minutes of its runtime for a linear storytelling, but that score is already high for me because I'm not easily pleased when it comes to horror, and I think this is a perfect way to kick off the horror season. This one really made me awake at night. So yeah, how about you guys? Have you seen Smile? Let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like and that subscribe button if you haven't yet for weekly content. Thank you so much guys for watching. Until then, I'll see you all on the next one.